Hi, I'm Liselle Sambury and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things writing, traditional publishing, and a little bit of reading. And this is a bit of a different video. So what this is it's actually a compilation of a video series that I've been doing on TikTok, where every day that I work on it, I'm basically documenting how the drafting process goes for writing the second book in my new YA Dark Academia fantasy series, whose first book, A Mastery of Monsters, comes out in summer of 2025. And so every day I work on the book, I do one of these updates and I post it on TikTok. And so I created this compilation sort of video series here on YouTube to basically batch together each week's video into one YouTube video, just because the videos are kind of like, they're too long for YouTube Shorts, but they're also a little too short for me to want to post them every day on YouTube. And so for those of you that like my YouTube channel and you aren't really fans of TikTok, that's basically what these videos are. It's just all the videos for that week packed into one, so that you can watch this every week and you can kind of see the whole kind of videos for the week. I am still going to be doing my monthly writing vlogs, so you'll still see those, and those really include like other facets of my life and like b-roll and that sort of thing, whereas these are like very pointed, basically only about drafting this specific book. So without further ado, I will let you enjoy the compilation, and you may notice that this intro is the same for every compilation video. That's because I just wanted to do one intro that I can use for all of the compilation videos going forward. And of course, I will also put them in a playlist, which I have linked down below, so that as the series goes on, if you missed anything and there's a few videos, you can just watch the whole playlist of the compilation. Yes, I know there is a plant in the way. I am doing my best. But this is the last day that filming will be like this, but then again, later on we're going to be traveling again next week, so maybe it will just continue to be this chaotic for a little bit, but I just kind of woke up naturally early enough that I could get my writing done before I have my flight to go back home, but yeah, so I was able to write a new chapter. So I put in a brand new chapter. It was kind of like including a scene that was supposed to be in a previous chapter, and I kind of couldn't fit it in, and so I've like done it in this chapter, so it's a bit of like a cool down debrief. So basically they have a meeting with their mentor, their professor mentor, who basically, because things have not been going kind of to plan, it's basically a time for him to be like, what the heck is happening? What is going on? Why are you having such a hard time doing everything? And so he has that kind of like conversation with them to just kind of be like, get your stuff together, basically. And so they have that meeting with him, and he basically gives them homework to try and do like some teamwork building things. And so they basically have that meeting with him, and then the next chapter is basically like a sleepover. And so this is for the purposes of doing all their team bonding and stuff. So they have to do that homework assignment, which is to play a specific sort of game, which I thought of this on the fly today, and I actually thought it was really good. The only thing is the game is like older, and so I don't know that like people their age today would know that game, and so I made it so they don't know it, but yeah, I might have to do a tiny bit of research to be like, do teenagers know what this game is? Because I feel like they don't, so I had these characters not know, but I don't know, maybe it's more popular than I think. So I thought that was good and like kind of fun. It's also fun because Nolan, this new character, he's like very into like games and board games and stuff, so he's the only one that actually has ever heard of the game or like knows about it, and so yeah, they're kind of playing this all together, and it's kind of part of the teamwork thing. And yeah, it's kind of a question of like, was this actually helpful, was this not, but I do think it was like a good like fun team building thing. And so that's kind of like a good cool down chapter. It's like a bit of an uptick. So usually when I kind of get into this section of the book, everything is going downhill and everything is terrible. And I feel like this is a time where, like, you know, some stuff is like going well before things are going to get really bad. I think I just have to kind of figure out how things are going to get really bad because I changed some things. And so now things are not going to go bad in the same way they were going to go bad before. But yeah, that's going to be a problem for my future self, but I do think that downhill trajectory is going to start in the next chapter. And today I am back in my normal space that I usually am, and I'm gonna be here at least for a little bit before taking off again. But yeah, today I procrastinated, of course, because when I had more of a time crunch, because I had places to be and things to do, it was easier for me to actually like sit down and like get the words out because I had other things I needed to do and like places I needed to go. And so I had a smaller amount of time to write. And of course, now that I'm back in my home environment, I have nowhere to be and nothing to do. I spend a bunch of time procrastinating. But I did get into the chapter today. This chapter was from the other POV, and this is kind of where things start to get bad and they start to fail at stuff. So they're doing a little bit more breaking and entering because that's just kind of the name of the game at this point. Because basically what they're doing is kind of requiring them to go to different places, like in the city of Kingston and on the Queen's University campus. And they can't really go there during the day to do all the stuff they need to do. So they do keep having to go after hours, which requires breaking and entering. But anyway, so they go and basically while they're there, this POV character, really the two POV characters, get to have a little bit of a conversation about their respective relationship dramas that they have going on. Yeah, it's just kind of like I wanted to create a little bit more moments between the two of them interacting because yeah, I just kind of want to make sure I'm solidifying that relationship a little bit more. I think as I've tried to do the like love interest relationship, that friendship relationship has taken a little bit of a back seat, and I do want that to be much stronger. And so I was kind of trying to get at that. I'm already trying to strategize how I can do that better, but I don't want to be adding in scenes. Usually what I do if a character relationship isn't as strong as I want to be, I start to add in scenes of those characters having to do things just on their own because it like forces that to happen. But of course that adds words, and I am already really at the top there, and so when I edit this, I really am gonna have to do it in a way that I can kind of make use of existing scenes instead of like adding new scenes constantly and like giving myself all that extra word count. But anyway, so they had that moment, and then something pretty much goes wrong, and we are seeing the beginnings of the crumbling of the team, and so yeah. And originally, again, because of how I was going to do the love interest arc before, there was like a big blow up at this time, but again, that character arc just doesn't make sense to me for her. It's really not her vibe, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but I did give her a moment to kind of like stand up for herself and stand her ground, and so that's the line I have to go for today. And so the line is, "I'm not a ready to go emotional punching bag just because I'm nice," which I like. It is great for her because, you know, she has a journey as a character, but she like starts out quite a bit more people pleasing in that first book, and this is kind of like, for me, it was a good come around time for her to kind of be like, I don't tolerate that anymore. And so I was very happy for her. So yeah, that was today's whole thing, and I will catch up with you again tomorrow. And for today, man, it was like I feel like I snapped again. This, you know what, this is like, okay, let me rephrase this. Let me circle back to this. I like writing romance is something that I like to do in some of my books. Not all of my books have romance, but this is something I do like to do, but it is kind of a struggle for me. I do find that I tend to get like embarrassed I don't know why I get like embarrassed. And so usually my first drafts have like almost no romance, or the romance is like very light, very surface level. Often I can't even like get a kiss in there because I'm embarrassed and I wait until the next draft to put it in. But this book, not the case. Not the case at all in any shape or form. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the characters. I don't know if it's because I'm working within a world that I've already established. I don't know what it is. But I'm just like on a roll. I feel like I've hit my like romance stride. I feel like I'm in my element. I don't know what it is, but yeah, so this chapter, it was supposed to be like mostly romance, but there was supposed to be like some plot things. I didn't even get to the plot things. I couldn't even make it there. It was just like 100% romance stuff, but like messy, dramatic romance stuff. So basically this chapter is taking place on St. Patrick's Day. So for me, like when I was in high school, nobody really, like St. Patrick's Day wasn't really anything. But in university is different because it's a big old excuse to drink, and to drink excessively, and to day drink. And so the main character, she's already like that level of messy kind of on her own. And she's like gotten better this book, but things are kind of, going poorly. And so like this is the time when she's like, yep, and she is enabled by the new character, because previously in the previous book she's kind of been surrounded by characters who are like very like, I guess like lawful good. Like they're very like, we follow the rules, we do what we're supposed to do, we're extremely well behaved. And that's something that is like a big clash for her in the first book, because she is not that. And so it is this huge struggle for her to try and like form herself into that mold. And then she comes in the second book, and she's doing better at it. But now we have a character who's very much not lawful good and is totally on board with being messy and not following rules and just doing whatever. And so now she has an enabler. And so yeah, and it's kind of affecting the other people who were also kind of lawful good. They are also being like influenced by this character to break the rules a little bit. And so that has led to a bunch of messy romance drama and stuff in this chapter. But it's so fun. I really like it. Yeah, and I just think it's such a fun time. I feel like it's working out really well. And so yeah, I'm just really pleased. Okay, here's my quote for today. So the quote is, "For a second, I think that he's going to do it, to choose me over everything, to pick me. Instead, he pushes back and stands, running his fingers through his hair." So that's the level of like romantic drama and tension. That's a little taste of what's in the chapter. And yeah, next time I talk to you, I will be in a different location again. We will see how messy or not messy that will be. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. So yesterday I did not do any writing. That's why there wasn't an update, just because we were traveling around, and it was just kind of like such that I was like, I'm not going to be able to write. I'm just going to take the day off because it's going to be too much stuff, too much going on. I was like, I'm not going to be able to like successfully get anything done during this time. So I decided to take the day off. But this morning I woke up and I got my writing done, which was good. I basically had to do like a bit of discussion from the fallout from all the romance drama that happened in the chapter before. So they had to kind of like have a little bit of a discussion. And then they go, one of the characters is like hiding out in a house, basically, due to the fallout of the romance drama. And so they go there basically to kind of like have a chat with him. And like during that process, they kind of discover something in this place where he is. And it like is like a big reveal of like kind of several things, but like only a few things that they actively understand are going on.
And so they have that discovery. And basically now this has shifted a lot of things to the love interest. And so he's been very on like a specific path. And a lot of the romance drama is coming from him trying to stay aligned to that path, even as the main character kind of tries to shove him off it. He's like really trying to stay the course. Whether or not staying the course is like the best decision for him, he's very motivated to do that. And this discovery basically upends everything that he had planned. And so this is kind of like his, not his like midpoint per se, because I need to fix his midpoint, but it's certainly like a very huge turning point for his character, in that it basically calls into question kind of everything he's been doing up until that point, and it really changes his goals and his focus. And this sort of trajectory the rest of the team has been on, kind of like pursuing their own interests and like being a little bit selfish and like kind of having a bit of like a downturn. He has now kind of become part of that because of what has just been found out. And so it's going to kind of change the entire dynamics of the whole team thing, because he used to be like the sort of like conscience voice of reason, and now that's kind of out of the window, and all bets are off. And so I'm very excited about how things are going to go from here. And yeah, it's a little bit free flowing still, because I've had to like do some little changes, but this was always kind of like part of the plan. And so it feels like things are a little bit more aligned now. But yeah, so I will be off for the weekend. I'm not sure. Monday we're going to be traveling again, so I don't know that I'm going to get a chance to write. So I might not be back until Tuesday. But yeah, we'll see.